The Chicago Bulls have shut down Lonzo Ball for the remainder of the season, which really comes as no surprise to anyone who's been in the know, because apparently pretty much every doctor that encounters Lonzo Ball's injury finds that it's something that they have never seen before. And with Lonzo's previous injury history, the fact that this injury now a year from happening has still not even recovered a little bit, a lot of people are kind of starting to call it a career for Lonzo Ball, and I just wanted to talk about Lonzo as well as what might happen in his future. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, but you know, let's just do some projections here. Real quick, if you end up enjoying this video, drop it a like to help it do better in the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe to the channel for 3 to 4 NBA videos a week. They're going to be ramping up even more significantly as the playoffs come around. Also, go check out my second channel where I've been back on the grind there as well. There's more content over there, and it's better quality than it used to be because Rudy is editing those videos now. Let's talk about Lonzo Ball. So, if you did not know, I'm a Chicago Bulls fan, and Lonzo Ball was pretty much a player that I had been begging the Bulls to acquire for years. Even when he was in his second year with Los Angeles, I thought there was an avenue where the Bulls could trade their number 7 pick for Lonzo. It was something that was rumored for a while, and I really wanted it to happen, and I made a whole video on it back in the day. But, since then, he did sign with the Bulls, obviously, and in the 35-ish, whatever it was, games that he played for them, he looked spectacular and was a key fundamental part of the Bulls being the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Believe me, it's a moment in Bulls history that I am never going to let go of. But what Lonzo provided to the Bulls was so important, and really, he was making up for a lack of surplus in the departments that he filled, which was three-point shooting, perimeter defense, and playmaking. And all three of those kind of worked symbiotically, at least the two of them, the defense and the playmaking, because what Lonzo brought to the table, along with Alex Caruso, was they were so good defensively, they consistently created turnovers, and then, if they got the ball, they were capable enough passers to throw a cross-court pass without really any hesitation. The way that Lonzo dictated this offense as a guard was ridiculous. He was the best defender on the team that was a top 5 defense in the league at one point. So that goes to show quite a bit the kind of impact that Lonzo Ball had. And then you see after the fact him getting injured and what happened with the Bulls pretty much immediately after. I do think, as I've said a million times, there are a lot of Bulls fans who like to make this as simple as possible and make it black and white, and as simple as, if Lonzo Ball's not hurt, the Bulls don't become bad. I do think that maybe he prevents them from becoming bad, but also I don't know that maintaining the 1st seed was realistic given the direction that this team went. And where I will give some credit to Lonzo Ball, and where I will extend an olive branch to the people who believe that, I think what happened when Lonzo went down was bigger than Lonzo himself, because what he represented a lot was a style of basketball and a culture that was really working. This high energy, real switchy, acting like a pest perimeter defense that was infectious throughout the entire team. And the notion of getting out and running and trying to get easy opportunities on the fast break, something else that kind of spread like an infection throughout the entire team. And as soon as he was gone, it was bad defense, it was not forcing turnovers, and it was one of the slowest paced offenses in the entire league. And the thing that Lonzo helped keep a little bit secret was that the Bulls' half-court offense kind of sucked. Having a great floor spacer out there definitely elevated it quite a bit, but also the fact that the Bulls were just getting so many fast break points and they were capitalizing on those type of situations that Lonzo Ball was consistently creating for them. As soon as that that easy offense was gone, they had to rely on DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine shot creating in the half court, and Nikola Vucevic, who fell off quite significantly this year, and has actually been better this year, to give credit to him. But turns out DeMar and Zach don't really work without a piece like Lonzo Ball, who offsets some of their weaknesses. Like, DeMar can't shoot, Lonzo can. Zach can't really play make, Lonzo can. Neither of them can really play defense, Lonzo can. And now that player is not there anymore, and Alex Caruso and Ayo Dosunmu try their best to try and replicate that and try and bring it back to what it was, but it is just not the same. And while Lonzo Ball might have looked in the box score as a guy who averages like, I don't know, like 15, 5, and 5, and you might say, yeah, it's a pretty cool role player, the impact that he had went a lot further than that box score, and his box score actually looked pretty impressive given that he was a 40+% three-point shooter on 7 attempts a game. So yeah, that's the importance Lonzo Ball had to the Bulls, and I guess we can go back a little bit further and talk about his career in LA and New Orleans. I think LA was just, he was not ready for that environment, on top of the fact that there were too many projections on this guy. There were too many, like, he's the next Jason Kidd or freaking Magic Johnson. I think Magic Johnson even compared him to himself, which is ridiculous for a 19-year-old coming into the NBA, or 20, whichever it was. And I don't think those expectations were fair at all. And the player that Lonzo Ball ended up being was someone who could theoretically, I think, become an all-star caliber player and somewhat live up to the expectations that he had. Not Jason Kidd or Magic Johnson, but, you know, 1, 2-ish time all-star, maybe in a tier that Drew Holiday has been in throughout his career. You know, a very, very good starting point guard that even borders on the conversation of a star, but not quite, you know? But at the same time, I think Lonzo's too good to call him, or was too good to call him, a role player. LA was not a great situation, and his jump shot took time to figure it out. By the time he got to New Orleans, his three ball was great, and that really elevated the entirety of his offense. He even started to develop a bit of a mid-range game, and he comes to Chicago and has the best season of his career until he doesn't. And here we are. And the question is, are we going to see Lonzo Ball even back in the NBA again? And if we do, what is he going to look like? Again, I am no doctor, so I'm not going to speculate on this injury, especially given that it doesn't even seem like doctors know how to speculate on this injury. Like, the fact that every single doctor, apparently it's like over 10, that looked at Lonzo Ball's knee all came to the conclusion of, I don't know, that is very scary, and it is something that could very well mean the end of an NBA career. Because if you're not aware of where this is right now, Lonzo self-described it as, he still hurts like going upstairs, and he still can't really run, and he still can't really play basketball. He can't play contact basketball by any stretch. Just existing has been painful for Lonzo and his knee ever since this injury happened. If you're at that point a year into it and nothing has changed, that's a very scary and dark sign. And I realize a lot of people are projecting the hope that Lonzo might come back from this injury and be what he was, or be even better. But I have to say that shit looks bleak. There's no other way to put it. I would hope to be wrong, Lord knows, especially on my own team, because of how much I loved Lonzo Ball when he was playing. I just don't know how realistic that is. To be a year in and there's been no progress made, how many times throughout NBA history can you point to that happening? I can't even think of a singular example. It's just not, it's just not ideal. So if he does come back, I think it'll be a while before he's Lonzo again. Like, this could be like a Gordon Hayward type of situation where it takes him like 3 years to get back to being able to be like kind of what he was before, and even then it still feels like a little bit of a shell of what it used to be. And man, what a damn shame it would be too, because like I said, I don't feel like I'm speaking hyperbolically when I say that Lonzo Ball was on the trajectory to have a very, very, very solid NBA career. And it got taken away based on a freak injury. And I do want to kind of blame the Bulls medical staff on this, because they've historically been god-awful, and it's just something that it feels like the Bulls have to deal with even more than everybody else. Of course, there's that famous story of when they damn near almost killed Luol Deng. But as the report came out that over 10 doctors have looked at it and all came to the conclusion of what the hell. well. I guess I can't blame them for that, but it really just feels like another thing in line for the Bulls. It's just like, yep, here's another reason to be depressed. But it's even more significant than that, because this might be a man's entire career, let alone just a season or two. There's a lot of people who hope he can come back next year. There was people who held out hope that he can come back this year, but from what I heard, I was like, there's just no freaking way. Like, we were getting reports early January that he still could, like, not comfortably walk upstairs. And I was like, if that's the case, he's not returning for the NBA season. I don't know. I don't know what there is. Obviously, again, I'm not a doctor. I don't know. I don't like the not knowing. And unfortunately, if I was betting, I would not bet on a positive outcome here, as much as I would like to be what actually happens. But I guess we can only wait and see. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Lonzo Ball. Shout out to Rudy for editing this video, and goodbye.